Let's get started. I'll start by introducing myself. I am Lindley Campbell. I'm an instructional specialist from Participate Learning, and I am here to help moderate our session. So before I pass it over to our presenter, a couple of things that I want to just share with you, housekeeping things. And I'm imagining at this point you all are very, very familiar with this, but just in case there's anybody out there joining in for the first time, just want you to know that we ask that you keep yourselves muted for the first part of our session, just so we don't have any background noise going on and we can all clearly hear our presenter. But at the end of our session, we will stop and have a Q&A section. So during that time, you can always turn your microphones back on and share your questions out loud with the whole group. So microphones off for now, but we'll have them turned on later at the end. Also, if you feel like sharing your face with us today, we would absolutely love to see you. So please feel free to turn on your camera if you'd like to. If not, we understand that too. So either way you're comfortable. And also, just so you're aware, if you do have your camera on, you can always select the grid view so that you can see everyone's faces all side by side, which also makes it pretty fun for our community. So a couple of other things. We are Participate Learning, and for those of you that are not familiar with us, we bring international teachers to the United States to help promote global learning and dual language opportunities. And we created this United We Teach community specifically for where we are in the world at this point in time, just as a gathering place for educators to come together, embrace the uncertain new school year, and just share ideas to get things going in the best way that it possibly can for us and for the children of the world out there. So that's the premise behind our entire summit. And we've gathered such fabulous educators to share throughout the course of this week. And we have one here for you now. It is Lorena Rivaldo. So Lorena, I'm gonna pass it over to you and have you introduce yourself and get started with all of the great things that you have to say. So welcome everybody, and definitely special welcome to Lorena, and you can take it away.
Thank you so much. I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen. Let me know if you guys can see.
Yes, perfect. We can see.
Minimize this.
And one other thing I'll add as Lorena is getting started, if you all have any questions that come to mind in the midst of the session, you can feel free to add those to the chat box and we'll address those at the end of the session.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I want to say thank you to Participate Learning for this opportunity that gave us to all the teachers from around the world to learn. Today, I'm going to be talking about engaging dual language students during virtual learning. And I want to, even though that I'm going to be talking about dual language classes, I think that most of the websites and activities that I'm going to share, you can apply it to your English classes. My name is Lorena Rivaldo. I am from Colombia. I just finished my third year as a Participate Learning teacher. I'm working at Glen Arden Elementary School. This is in Arden, North Carolina. I am in the dual language program and I teach in first grade. I have 12 years of experience in education, and I am Apple certified educator, Google certified educator, CISO ambassador, and others. In this section, we will discuss the keys to start teaching online successfully. And I'm going to share 3 factors that I consider are really important to start teaching online before teaching any content. I'm going to explore educational tech tools to engage students and improve language skills. I'm going to share my favorite apps and websites, and also I'm going to share some new ones that I'm going to start implementing this upcoming year. And during my presentation, I'm going to be giving you tips and ready-to-use ideas to implement in your classroom. These are the three factors that I consider are really important to implement in our classes before teaching any content. The first one is building community, routines, and introducing digital tools. Let's check the first one. Relationships matter. Building community and establishing effective communication must be accomplished before teaching content. For me, this is the most important factor that we have to consider at the beginning of the year. When we introduce building community, students and parents feel connected. Here we can also introduce social emotional skills. I think, why do we have to start teaching building community? Because it creates a safe environment that allows students to connect one another even remotely. We want our students to feel physically, mentally, and emotionally safe. So creating a community allows this. When I start the first day of school with my first graders, I always ask them, what would you like to learn in first grade? What things would you like to investigate? And I tell them the things that I like, and this makes me human to them and gets a connection going between us. Where should we start building community? We should start building community the first day of school in our virtual lessons on whole group, small groups, or even independent groups. How can we start building community? In my case, when I start teaching online, the first activity that I did was something fun for them. And I create an assignment on CISO, and I show a video of my house and my learning space. And then they send me pictures and videos about the learning space. So I engage my students and I started building an online community with them with fun activities. Another activity that you can do this upcoming year is one called Me Bag. You ask your students to put in a bag 5 things that represent them. They can put drawings, pictures, favorite food, photos, and then they share those things with the class. This activity helps you to know more your students and their families. Another activity that you can do is make them to make a drawing of them and then start talking about their life and the things that they like. I always do this activity at the beginning of the year, and I'm going to show you an example. Let me know if you can watch the video.
There's no sound, Lorena.
Okay.
Mi nombre es Arden.
Yes.
Yo tengo 7 años. A mí me gusta trabajar. Yo tengo una hermana. Yo tengo un conejo y tengo un perro. A mí me gusta ir a la playa. Mi cumpleaños es septiembre 26.
So these activities help you to get a stronger connection with your students. Another activity that I like that my school did, we are a leader in mid school and we work with the 7 habits. So while we were teaching online, the teacher had to choose students who were working really hard or who were engaged. So this is an example of what we did. And then the principal did make a video and share with the whole class. This activity engaged my students more to be participating in their online lessons. Another activity that you can do is to choose your star student. I do this every Monday, and this activity also engage my students to continue working. You can also send positive messages to your parents. Another activity that I did was celebrate the birthday with my students online. They really like to feel love, and that you remember their birthday is really important for them. So you get the idea that here we were singing and dancing for them. These are other activities that you can do to start building community with your students and parents. I like this one when you Zoom with parents. It's really important that you do this so you know how are they doing at home, if they need something, if they don't understand something, especially if we are teaching in Spanish. Another activity that you can do is feeling checking. Always ask your student, how do they feel today? In this moment where there are a lot of emotions and maybe they feel sad because they don't see their friends, it's good to ask them, how do they feel? Other activities that they like to do are celebration, parties, you can do exercise with them. I love doing field trips, virtual field trips. We did 2 last year. We went to Mexico and to Colombia. They love it. So these are just ideas that you can do in your class to build community. Routines. Routines is also very important before start teaching any content, before start introducing any new app. For routines, I suggest to keep them simple, especially for little kids, and also use visual support or videos. People who know me know that I love to use a lot of visual aids in my class, and also practice those routines every day. You have to set expectation in every lesson and interaction. You also need to communicate parents your routines. We really need them to be our partners in this learning community. I also suggest for parents establish a consistent location and predictable schedule for sharing information. When parents know where to go and when to look for information for you, they'll do a better job. In my case, in my class, I use email and class dojo. My parents knew that every Monday they will receive an email just that day, an email with the activities to do. And on Wednesday, they knew that I will be sending a Class Dojo short announcements. So be clear with your parents about their routines and practice with your kids the procedures every day. These are just examples of visuals that you can use in your class to introduce to your students, especially little kids, that we use a lot of pictures and color and images so they can remember. This is another example of expectation visual aid that you can give to your kids, and then can practice it and they know how to behave when you have your virtual meetings. After you introduce your routines, is the time to introduce your new digital tools. I suggest to use 1 or 2 tools, especially with little kids, and be consistent with them. I know that we all got a lot of email with new apps, new websites to try, free websites to try, but in my case, I just use 2 tools at the beginning, and I work on those tools every day until they get and know how to do it. Use visual or tutorial videos. For Spanish classes, I use a Spanish tutorial for my students and tutorials in English for my parents, so they also know how are we going to work in the class. And practice, practice, practice. A good way to practice the use of digital tools is if you are working procedures, for example, this, you can assign an activity on the platform that you are using. Could be could be Google Classroom or CISO. And you do an assignment and you teach your student how to log in. And they have to write which are the 6 rules for Zoom meeting. And they learn how to submit a job and they know how they are going to receive the feedback. And you are working 2 things at the same time, procedures and the use of the new digital tool. These are just examples of the things that I use in my class to communicate to my parents. I send these to the parents and these to the parents as well about how to use, how we're going to log in on Zoom. I also do something like this. This is not my picture, but I do something similar. It's a ring with all the password and steps that we are going to use in the class. Engage while learning. For me, when I was thinking about how can I engage my students, I was thinking about games, activities that were fun for them, and also activities that require not too much time for me to prepare. Also, self-checking activities. So I was investigating and I found some apps that help to do my work easier. And I'm gonna share with you the first one, Kahoot. I know that a lot of you already know this app, this website, Kahoot, but I love Kahoot and your students love it too. I like Kahoot because you don't have to create your quiz. There are quizzes that are already pre-made. The students can do challenges, and I did this last year. I created one, and their students did it on its own pace. A student can also create Kahoot. At the end of the year, I told them to do a question about the class, about me, about Colombia, about the friends, and we create a Kahoot about our class, and it was really fun for them. You can also collaborate with other teachers, so you don't have to do all the work if you want to create your Kahoot. You share with other teachers, and that saves times to you. And you also can play a live Kahoot. Last year, I wanted to play a live Kahoot, but it requires for the student to have 2 devices. One device to watch the screen with the question and other device to type the answers. But I wanted like another idea to split the screen. My student uses iPads. So I create a tutorial to teach my parents how to play Kahoot live while we were doing our Zoom meeting. If you are using computers, these are the steps for you to tell your parents how to play Kahoot live, dividing the screen. So I'm gonna show you a little bit of the tutorial, but it's really easy what parents have to do so I can play live Kahoot with them. So basically, this is the tutorial that I'm going to send my parents and tell them that we can play Kahoot now live. We don't need two devices. And during this time, the quarantine time, Kahoot gave premium accounts to teachers. So if you have a premium account, a free premium account, now you can add your slides and do your live classes and add those questions to your presentation during your Zoom meeting. So this is a new feature that Kahoot has now for teachers who has premium accounts. Another platform that I like is CISO. I like CISO because it's a fun, it's like a notebook, it's a digital journal. And this platform is really student friendly, especially for kinder, first grade. You can create your blog in CISO and also send announcement. I like from CISO that I can use all these apps inside CISO. So my student doesn't need to go to different places. I can add links, so it's really easy for them. I'm gonna share some of the activities that I did last year with my students. Can you see this?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, this is just a simple activity that you can do. You take a picture of your worksheet and you add it to the CISO Canva. So students here record their voice and they are reading, and then they can write sentences with the worksheet or with the word that you give it to them. Another activity that you can do is this one. They have to look for the side words. So they just move the star, and as soon as they find the word, they write the word here. And then they can write sentences. Another activity that I did with CISO was creating a choice board. Here we were talking about the Earth Day, and they had the video, song, they could read a book, and then they did a project with a tree. Another activity that you can do with CISO, you can do your a book with them. I did this one for the end of first grade, and I like that they could add pictures and write and everything. Kahoot now has a new, CISO now has a new option where you can add links or videos to your activities. So it's even easier for you as a teacher and also for the students. I like CISO because you don't have to create the activities. There is a community of teachers where they share the activities. I have shared all my activities in the community, so other teachers can have them by free. These are other activities that I did to improve reading, listening, speaking, and writing with my students. They really love CISO. And I also like it because, like I said before, you can use other apps inside CISO. Another strategy that I use in my class to engage my students was Google 3D. This is something that you can find in if you have an iPhone or if you have an Android device. You can create augmented reality videos. You can do your morning messages fun. You can do ELA activities, science activities, and students can do projects. I'm gonna show you a video about how I use Google 3D, and it's in Spanish, but I'm gonna explain before. I'm saying to my student that I love animals and I want them to investigate about one of those animals that I'm showing there. Then you are going to see in the video my morning messages with the question of the day. And at the end, you're going to see which objects you can find on Google 3D.
Días amigos, hoy es un día muy especial porque hoy estoy acompañada de unos animales muy lindos y vamos a hacer un proyecto. Mira el video y te lo explicaré. Vamos a investigar sobre tu animal favorito. Vas a pensar en un animal y vas a buscar información sobre ese animal. ¿Qué tipo es? ¿Dónde vive? ¿Cómo es? Todo. Como puedes ver, a mí me encantan los animales. Son muy lindos. Y en este video te muestro todos mis animales favoritos. También puedes ver mis mascotas al final. Espero que te guste este proyecto. Vamos a investigar. Buenos días amigos, hoy estoy muy feliz porque nuestro amigo el pingüino emperador nos está acompañando. Hola, y estamos muy contentos porque hoy comienza un nuevo mes. Hoy es 1 de abril de 2020 y nuestra pregunta del día es, ¿te gustan los pingüinos? Contéstame con un video o con un mensaje. Nuestro amigo y yo estaremos esperando todas sus respuestas. Que tengan un muy buen día. Adiós.
Hola, señora Rivaldo. A mí me gustan los pingüinos muchos. Cuando caminan son chistosos y también pueden ser muy lindos. Yo quiero tener un pingüino. Adiós. Hola, mi nombre es Sierra y yo sí te gustan los pingüinos porque son mis favoritos colores y es muy lindos. Puedo nadar. ¿Tiene picos para tomar los peces?
Buenos días amigos, hoy estoy muy feliz porque es viernes 3 de abril de 2020 y no estoy sola, estoy con nuestro amigo el oso panda. Hola, espero que esté muy feliz.
Stop my video here because it's a little long, but you have the idea, you get the idea. You can add 3D objects to your videos and it's really fun for the students. But how do you do this? You Google in your cell phone or in your iPad and you write the name of the animal, for example, tiger, and then you scroll down and you will see that said view in 3D. You click on that part and then you will see this, and then you add the animal to your area and you can do your video. You need like another person to record for you, so it's better. That's how I do. There is a list of a lot of animals. You can find a dinosaur, you can find parts of the body, you can find planets, the moon, the cells. So there is a lot of things that you can find in augmented reality version. So I invite you to check to see if you can do also engaging videos to your students. It's really fun. Another app that I want to share is Bitmoji. There is a Bitmoji for everything. Teachers and students love Bitmoji, and I worked with this last year and it was amazing for them. I'm going to show you some of the ideas that you can do with Bitmoji, but there is a lot. The first one is virtual classrooms. What I like is that here, for example, I can add a lot of links for an activity that I want to do with my class. For example, here, I click on that image and I found a video and the students can sing a song.
¿Qué letra viene ahí?
Es
Oh, sorry. These are other examples of classes. can also add music and voice messages to your Bitmoji classrooms. If you are talking about vegetables or fruits, you can do your own scenario or your store, and student can practice. If you are talking about school supplies, you can do your own Target store and student go and practice the words. Also for science, you can use and do your own laboratory at samples. Here you can add different links and add your books. And if you don't want to use Bitmoji, you can use your own pictures too. Another activity that you can do with Bitmoji is choice boards. You just send to your student your own Bitmoji. I have one here. And the student have to complete a choice board with activities. For example, here, I love animals. Take me a picture with a dog with your pet. And they do that and they have fun at home. I did it last year and they really like it. This is another version in English. So you can see basically what students have to do with your Bitmoji at home. Another thing that you can do with Bitmoji is called Bitmoji Story, and this is still new for me. I'm still exploring this one, but you can create your own cartoon with the Bitmojis and students investigate about any topic that you talk in the video. I'm going to show you a little bit about what I created.
Hola, señorita Rivaldo, ¿qué es eso? Hola, señorita Zaragoza, es una guacamaya. Es muy linda, ¿de dónde vino? Es de Colombia y come frutas y semillas. Es un ave muy cariñosa y sociable, además sus plumas son hermosas. La traje para que investiguemos sobre su hábitat y cuidado.
Sí, yo quiero saber más sobre ella y estoy segura que los niños también.
¡Oh, wow! Dejemos que sean los niños que investiguen sobre estas lindas aves.
Sí, debemos cuidar para que no caigan en peligro de extinción. Voy a hacer un proyecto con los niños de primer grado. Sí. ¡Y que vivan las guacamayas!
Okay, another idea that you can do with your Bitmoji is called Bitmoji announcement. I'm going to show you an example.
Muy buenos días a todos. Hoy estoy muy feliz porque es nuestro desfile en la escuela y los voy a ver a todos. Recuerda, de 2 a 3 de la tarde. Y también no olvides terminar tus actividades en CISO, que yo sé que las estás haciendo muy bien. Nos vemos.
I know that the only thing is that these activities require time to do it, but I promise that students are going to love it. Another app that I recommend, or website that I recommend, is called Padlet. I use Padlet for the question of the day, but here you can see a lot of things that you can do with Padlet. You can also gather your student work and put it there. I'm going to show you an example of one activity with Padlet. For example, in the question of the day, I asked them, do you like to dance? And the one who said yes, immediately sent them to Padlet wall, and they had the opportunity to answer yes and give the reasons. One share pictures, other videos, other they just write, and others make a note. And also the one who said no has the wall and the opportunity to answer. And I like that all the students can see the answers interact each other's. Boom cards. I like boom cards because allows me to download free or paid digital activities for my students. I like boom cards because I don't have to check. It's self-checking. I don't have to prepare it because there are a lot of free cards already made. It's engaging for the student and it's paperless. So we are saving the trees. Student can always play for free with Easy Paint. Boom cards is free. For the things that I use it in my class, I use the free version. I didn't need it to pay. So you can use boom cards by free. This is my account in Boom Cards, and all these activities, I got them by free. I didn't have to pay. You can pay if you want others, but the free ones are very good. Let's check one. Here for comprehension, the student click here in start, and then in the fishbowl, there is a green fish. So they have to check and they choose the correct answer. In the fishbowl, there are colorful rocks. So let's say that the student chooses the wrong one. It's self-checking because the student immediately noticed that, oh, it's this one. And they continue doing the activity. It's really fun and engaging for students too. Another thing that I like from Boom Cards is that you can get a report about how your students did it. But this one is in the paid version. But if you don't want that, you just can use it to practice vocabulary, high frequency words, reading comprehension. For those things, you can do it by free. You just go here in action and you generate a fast pin, and with this URL, students can go from any device. Students don't need an account. They can do it in any device and just go to this URL and they can play and practice vocabulary. So they are playing, but they are learning too. So if you haven't used Boom Cards, I invite you to use it. It's really fun and requires not too much time to prepare. Another website that I like to recommend is Flipgrid. I like Flipgrid because students can interact each other. They can see their faces. They can do a video and others can reply to that video. One of the activities that I did on CISO was that I did on CISO tongue twister, and then on Flipgrid, they record themselves doing it. So this is my class. You create your class. Flipgrid is free too. So this is my video doing my tongue twister, and then my students did their example too. And I like that others reply to their videos as well. So it's fun, and the student can practice the Spanish and you can hear how they are doing it. Another website that I like is called Flippery. Flippery, you can make games and study materials with Google Sheets. If you are practicing high frequency words, new vocabulary, or if you are doing a story and you want that they do a comprehension activity, you have to use Flippery. Flippery is free. I'm gonna show you one short activity that you can do there. Here are all the options that you can use to do your activities. All these are games. They recommend to do this one for e-learning. Flippery is free. So let's check this game. This is a scavenger hunt. So here, the student read the question. You can do this in Spanish, of course. And then they answer. Here is keyboard. And they continue until they open all the logs. Another activity that you can do for e-learning is, let's choose this one to do vocabulary. So I click here on template. I make a copy. And then here I type my students' names and I can differentiate. For example, let's choose Oscar. And Oscar, I want that Oscar practice 3 words. So I'm going to delete these ones. And I'm gonna add the new words. For example, casa, that is house, cama, and perro. And then here I can add my email so I can get a report about how my student did it with the words. So when I write the words that he needs to practice, in this case, Oscar, I go to files, and then I go to publish to the web. Okay. Now I go to get the link here. Oh, I forgot something. Here I can change the language because the words are in Spanish. I add here Spanish. So let's do this again. Publish to the web. Okay, the link is there. And now I get the link here. And this link, I can send it on Google Classroom, on CISO, or any other platform that I'm using. So Oscar pastes the link, or open the link, and now he look for his name, and he find the 3 words that he needs to practice, and someone will be reading those words for him.
Casa, C, A, S,
He also can practice
casa,
the words
deletrea,
here, do a
casa,
test,
deletrea,
and can do matching games, for example. Let's check matching game. And he can play with those words at home. With this website, he can do all these activities with those 3 words that I put. Practice, snowman game, all these activities. So I invite you to check this website that is completely free, and you can have it self-checking and can save you a lot of time. Another website that I like and I want to share with you is WordWall. In WordWall, you can make interactive games, you can make quizzes, you can do word games, and much more. WordWall is free and requires minimum of preparation. It has a paid version, but honestly, you don't need it because there is a lot of option of games that I don't think you need the paid version. So when you create your account with your email, in 3 steps, you can create a game or an activity for your students. First, you pick a template or a game, and then you enter your content, and then students can, you share the link with your students. So let's make a short activity. No, the time. So here are all the options for the games that you can do with your student. I like this one, is whack-a-mole. Sorry, I got here to create an activity. And this game, this website, you can change the language. So students are going to see the activities in Spanish. So I'm gonna show you this one that I already create. So let's say that I'm talking about animals. And a student can continue doing the game. If you don't like this game, you can do another one and change your content and do another game. For example, this one. Also, if you don't like this game, those same words, you can play it in another game. And let's say that your student don't have internet at home or devices. You can send a paper, a worksheet. So this website create the worksheets for you, and you can send them to print them and send them to your class if they don't have devices. So if you don't know about this website, I invite you to check. It's free and you will like it. And also, I forgot to say that this website checks the work for you and you get the results from how your student did it. My last tip and advice is work smarter, not harder. There are a lot of activities that other teachers already made, so you can share with other teachers and save time. These are others of my favorite apps. I invite you to check them out because if you're working with little kids, you will like them. And all these apps and other more that will be helpful for you in this virtual learning. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please let me know. And if you want to continue talking, you can go to the United We Teach community, or you can follow me to my Twitter account, Instagram, my email, or my YouTube channel.
Lorena, wow, just wow is all I have to say. And I think speaking on behalf of our audience here, based on the comments that they've been putting in the chat box, that was outstanding. You are so, so talented. And those tools are incredible. I don't know about you all, but I want to go out and try them out myself right now.
Yes.
We already have a request for a second session from you to give tutorial and help us, try it out ourselves. So we'll be in touch with you about this for sure. Fantastic, just so incredible. So we actually had loads of questions for you in the chat box. What I think I might do though is direct those over to our discussion thread in the community, just for the sake of time, because we have another session that will be coming up in a few short minutes. So we want to make sure that there's space for all of that. So what I'd like to ask of all of you and our audience is for you to take those questions, and I know you have lots of them, and type them over to Lorena in the discussion thread that we have going on. So what I'm going to do is in the chat box right now, I'm going to paste the links directly to where you will need to go for these things. And I'm also going to share my screen with you really quickly here so that you can see exactly where to go for this. So over here, we have our United We Teach community. If you're not a member yet, hop on in here and join. It's free, it's quick, and you'll get access to all of the amazing things from the summit this week, particularly this session that I know you're all interested in. We'll have the video link for it probably around sometime next week where you can access this and you can watch it all over again as many times as you'd like. And then you can also hop into the discussion thread that we have. And this is where you can come over to this United We Teach Summit and you can connect with Lorena and any of the other session presenters from the week. You can specifically ask your questions to her there, and any any others that you might have. And one other thing that I saw in the chat box is some were interested in finding out how to get a badge for the course. And so you'll notice under courses, if you click on that, you can come over here to the United We Teach Summit reflection and submit a really brief reflection about your takeaways from the session. And then that will in turn earn you a badge. And I know some of you are also asking about CEUs, the continuing education units, and there's information in there about that as well. So this is going to be your go-to spot to find all of these different things. So click on those links, copy those from the chat box, make sure you grab those and have those on hand, and we'll look for you in there and within our next few sessions that we have coming up this afternoon. And Lorena, we need to see you again soon. So many great ideas. We're just in awe.
I forgot something. I want to share my screen so you can get a link of the virtual classroom, so you don't have to create them. You can just get the copy of what I found and start making yours. So I'm going to share my screen because I forgot that part. So
Go ahead.
let's see. This is the link. So you can get the virtual classroom and some of the ideas that I shared today.
All right, everybody, take a screenshot of this so you have this link. We can also ask Lorena to share that in the discussion thread as well.
Yes, I'll do that there too.
And you have access to this presentation. That's another thing I forgot to mention as well. You'll be able to access this along with the recording of the video, so you can go back and rewatch everything and also have a copy of this presentation for all the little particulars. So we're so grateful. This was amazing. Thank you, Lorena, for sharing all of your knowledge
You're
with
welcome.
us.
Thank you everyone for being here.
Excellent audience. We look forward to seeing you in future sessions. Bye, everybody.